Everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am KeyLovesGod. I help uplift, encourage, and inspire others on how to be made in His image and on how to be the best versions of yourselves. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you guys. And if you're already subscribed, you guys, welcome back, my little sunflowers. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to the most harmful foods that people keep eating. And this is under BMA's YouTube channel, so you guys can go and show this channel some love and see what other type of videos they have. But what I'm going to do is make it bigger to make sure that we can all see it, and we're going to get started.
And if that's true, then going by the jaw-dropping bombshells I've got coming up,
Ew, what is that?
most of us are surprisingly dangerous. You may not know it, but many of these foods you eat every day contain hidden toxins, parasites, and poisons that can cause disturbing and sometimes deadly side effects. From poisonous cherries to worm-infested sushi, get ready to explore the terrifying truth behind these tasty treats.
Ew. I'm happy I don't eat sushi. Do you guys eat sushi?
Processed meat. If you're a committed carnivore, I've got some bad news for you. Processed meat may taste delicious, but it comes with some alarming risks. It turns out any meat that's been modified to improve taste or increase shelf life, like salami, bacon, or sausages, is classified as a Group 1 carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. That means that based on countless extensive studies, scientists are certain that eating processed meat increases your cancer risk. The problem comes from the way processed meat is prepared. Nitrates and nitrites are used to keep meat fresh for longer. But when we eat them, our bodies convert them into chemicals called nitrosamines. These can damage our DNA, contributing to cancer risk over time. When meat is cooked at high temperatures, like on the barbecue, more of these harmful compounds are produced, increasing the risk even further.
And you would think that that would help it. I mean, you would think, maybe it doesn't make sense, but you would think that if they were cooked, that it will help them to not have those nitrates and carcinogens. But I guess when you actually think about it, it seems like it would make it worse. Like my husband and I and our son, we literally only eat chicken. And then for like Thanksgiving and stuff, we made like turkey. I mean, not turkey, but chicken. And eventually we probably won't eat chicken anymore either. But I started off like eating all that kind of stuff. Then I slowly became a pescatarian. And then we don't even eat shrimp anymore because it's just like I found out they were bottom feeders. And it's just so disgusting. And every time I try to go back to eat like ham, or I would try to go back to eat shrimp, all I could think about was the information that I had found out about them, and I just couldn't eat it anymore. But are you guys like, do you guys eat a lot of meat and stuff? And if so, what kind of meat do you guys eat? The only meat that I eat is chicken. And it does get really hard because there's only so many things that you can eat, you know? But we do eat a lot of pasta. So this is the reason why we don't eat meat anymore, you guys. Like pork and stuff. And turkey bacon. I eat turkey bacon.
Meat eaters in the UK found that eating 76 grams of either red or processed meat a day, the equivalent of just 3 slices of ham, increases your risk of bowel cancer by 20%.
You're kidding.
And this doesn't mean that you have to go vegan, but nutritionists agree that limiting your intake of processed meat is definitely a healthy choice. So instead of bringing home the bacon, try something non-processed, like free-range chicken, turkey, or even a meat-free alternative. If these startling facts turned you off ham, click the like button. And if nutritionists will have to pry sausages out of your cold, dead hands, slap that subscribe button instead. Given that I post fascinating content every day of the week, clicking both is an equally tasty option. Now let's sample some more dangerous foods.
Ew.
CASU MARZU.
What is
From
that?
mozzarella to Parmigiano Reggiano, Italy is famous for its delicious cheeses. But did you know that the Italian island of Sardinia is home to the world's most dangerous cheese? A regional specialty with a stomach-turning secret ingredient.
Yeah, they like to eat mold.
CASU MARZU, which literally means rotten cheese,
See?
gets its ripe flavor from thousands of live maggots. I'm not kidding. To produce this eyebrow-raising delicacy, a fly-infested wheel of cheese is stored in a dark hut for 2 to 3 months. The fly eggs hatch into maggots, which munch on the cheese, digest it, and excrete it in the form of a thick, soft cream. Brave diners then spread that creamy cheese onto flatbreads and tuck in. There are 2 rules for eating CASU MARZU. Rule 1, always close your eyes before you take a bite. The cheese fly maggots used to make CASU MARZU can jump up to 6 inches in the air, and you don't want to land in your eye. Rule 2, once the morsel is in your mouth, be sure to chew thoroughly. Any maggots that get swallowed alive could set up camp in your intestines, potentially resulting in a parasitic infection.
Why do you even want to eat it?
It's illegal to buy or sell CASU MARZU in the EU or US. In spite of its reputation as a health hazard, Sardinians claim the cheese is a powerful aphrodisiac.
Ew, who
Would
cares?
maggot cheese get you in the mood for love?
No.
Let me know down in the comments below.
That is some sick mess.
Fruit juice. Okay, so fruit juice isn't exactly a food, but it's made from food. So I'm going to discuss it anyway. It may shock you to learn that according to U.S. obesity expert Dr. Robert Lustig, calorie for calorie, fruit juice is worse for you than fizzy drinks. Sounds crazy, but a 2019 study on 14,440 American adults found that each 12-ounce daily serving of juice was associated with a 24% higher mortality risk compared to drinking none at all. The same quantity of soda, meanwhile, only increased mortality rate by 11%. So why is juice so bad for us? Well, most of the sugar in fruit is fructose, which has some pretty unhealthy side effects. It's addictive and can trick our brains into thinking we're still hungry, even when we've consumed our fair share of calories. When we eat a piece of fruit,
that's why, you guys, when you look at your labels, which I highly recommend you do if you don't, to know what you're ingesting in your bodies, because we know our bodies are our temples, so you have to honor it as such. You can't just be throwing on anything in it, and you have to make sure that if you do want to, you know, be your best self and you want to like be more spiritually in tune, you have to make sure that you are consuming things that are healthy, things that are alive, like fruit, apples, bananas, salads, like leafy green things that basically, like I said, things that are colorful, things that are high in health. So when I go to buy anything for either myself or my family, I always look at the labels, and if it says high corn fructose syrup or something like that, high fructose syrup, I'm putting it back. And it says it in a lot of stuff, especially like gummies, like little vitamins for kids. It'll have that on there, and I make sure that it has none of that kind of stuff inside of it. So make sure you guys really pay attention to your labels, is what I'm trying to say.
Content counteracts these effects by slowing the absorption of fructose and helping us to feel full. Juicing, meanwhile, releases the sugars in fruit while tearing apart most of the fiber. As a result, drinking juice has very few of the health-boosting benefits of eating fruit and is linked to obesity, tooth decay, and an increased risk of type 2 diabetes.
Dang.
Yikes. Tasty though a glass of morning OJ may be,
I don't drink
probably
OJ.
be sticking to a glass of water from now on. FUGU. Would you be willing to risk certain death in order to eat this? What you're looking at is pufferfish sushi, known as FUGU, a much sought-after delicacy in Japan. The fish is reportedly so delicious that every year people are literally dying to try it. I'm not exaggerating. Pufferfish are laced with tetrodotoxin, a poison 1,200 times deadlier than cyanide.
What?
Each pufferfish contains enough to kill 30 people, and there's no known antidote. Regardless, many Japanese chefs spend 2 to 3 years earning a special license that allows them to prepare fugu and serve it after carefully removing the toxic skin and organs.
Ew.
Because of the intensive training required to earn a fugu preparing license, the dish can cost upwards of $200. Given that eating incorrectly prepared fugu can cause paralysis and death, it's banned in the EU, the UK, and most of the US. If you're absolutely determined to try it, remember that nearly all fatalities occur when untrained or unlicensed people prepare the fish, so make sure your fugu is served by a puffer professional.
No.
Red hot chili peppers. A spicy chili pepper can leave you feeling pretty hot and bothered, but few people realize the side effects of munching on excessively hot chilies can be much more gruesome.
I do
than
not like
merely
hot
a
food,
painful
guys.
Toilet visit the next day. Of course, chili peppers can't actually burn you.
Like spicy food,
unless
no.
they're on fire when you eat them. Instead, chilies contain a chemical compound called capsaicin, which activates the neurons in our brains responsible for feeling heat. This tricks our brains into activating our burn defense system, which is where the trouble can begin. This can cause inflammation as blood vessels send more blood to the affected area, vomiting as your stomach tries to get rid of whatever's burning it, and even blistering as your body inflates fluid-filled sacs to protect deeper tissues. The hotter the pepper, the more extreme the side effects as our bodies attempt to douse the imaginary flames. If you want to avoid these symptoms, take a peek at the Scoville scale before you pick up your next pepper. This scale measures the concentration of capsaicin in different varieties of chili, ranking them according to heat. Your average jalapeno pepper measures a moderate 5,000, while the ghost pepper, which boasts 1 million heat units, is so hot it's even been weaponized by the Indian Army in the form of chili grenades.
Oh my gosh.
The official hottest chili in the world, the Carolina Reaper, meanwhile, reaches a whopping 1,569,300 units.
It's
There's
not
even
that
a
deep.
pepper known as Pepper X, which reportedly boasts an astounding 3,180,000 Scoville units.
You guys, I don't get why people would even want to ingest this. Like, what are you trying to do to yourself? I eat something spicy and it's just like, I don't even get it. Like, imagine somebody eating one of these peppers and what it can do to their insides. Like, your nose is running, your eyes are running, your throat feels like it's closing up, your chest is hot, you're having trouble talking, you can't really breathe, then you feel nauseated. Like, why do people put themselves through this kind of stuff? Is this like a thrill or something? I don't get it. Just like I see people eating the world's hottest chip and those little, it's like a blue tortilla chip that people are going around eating. Like, I just don't get why this is even a thing. This stuff is crazy. You can go to the hospital from this stuff.
No, this figure is yet to be officially confirmed. Would you be crazy enough to take on Pepper X?
Nope.
Let me know down in the comments below.
Negative, Ghostwriter, negative.
Savage soda. We all know soda isn't exactly the healthiest choice, but did you know the excess sugar in sweetened drinks can damage our cells, making us look older? One recent study found that too much soda can actually alter the parts of our chromosomes linked to aging, known as telomeres. Drinking a daily 20-ounce serving over 3 years was found to lead to changes consistent with getting 4.6 years older for a non-soda drinker. Over longer periods, these changes wither skin and raise the risk of an early death. Sadly, diet drinks aren't much better. Though they contain fewer calories, they're packed full of artificial sweeteners, which can actually cause you to put on weight. When we taste artificial sweeteners, our brain assumes we've consumed sugar and prepares for an influx of calories. But when they fail to arrive, we're left craving the calories our brains were expecting, making us likelier to overeat later in the day. So, with dangers on both sides of the fence, it's probably best to avoid being a sucker for the fizzy stuff entirely.
Yeah, I don't. I'll have a pop
Nakshi.
occasionally.
Would you eat a wriggling, writhing octopus?
Like once a
Gross
month
as
or
it
something.
sounds, this dish is actually considered a delicacy in Korea. It's called
Ew.
Nakshi, and it's made by killing a small octopus and eating it while the
Ew.
residual nerve activity keeps it twitching. The unusual delicacy comes with a substantial health warning. If diners don't chew their morsel thoroughly, it can prove deadly. Even after the octopus is killed, the suction cups on its tentacles can still attach to surfaces, meaning they can stick inside of your mouth or throat on the way down. Once attached, the tentacles can be devilishly difficult to remove, creating a choking hazard. In fact, 6 daredevil diners die every year from choking on Nakshi. You might call it the octopus's revenge. I'd call it a reason never to eat it. Farmed salmon.
That is
There's
terrifying.
something fishy about farmed salmon. Maybe it's the fact that despite being rich in omega-3, it's absolutely riddled with harmful chemicals. Specifically, Norwegian specimens of the fish are unusually high in polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs, hazardous industrial chemicals that have been banned in the US since 1976. PCBs were used for insulation in electrical equipment, but when inadvertently consumed by humans, they're classed as a probable cause of cancer and are known to damage the immune system and cause reproductive problems. So how did these chemicals end up in Norwegian farmed salmon? Well, farmed salmon are fed pellets made from the ground remains of small fish. As a result of improper waste disposal by factories along the waterways they reside in, these tiny individual fish contain trace amounts of PCBs and other harmful industrial chemicals. When multiple fish are concentrated into a single pellet, the result is unusually high in these chemicals. Farmed salmon then consume these pellets, absorbing the PCBs into their fatty tissues, which are ultimately eaten by humans. In 2018, toxicology researchers found farmed salmon contained 5 times more toxins in general than any other food tested. So next time you fancy fish, you may want to stick to the wild kind.
Wild caught salmon. That's good to know because I love salmon, you guys. That's why I'm just like so quiet, because I'm like, wait a minute, what? I know that nobody is exempt from eating something that's not good for you. Nobody's perfect, you know. We all probably consume something that's bad for us. So that's understandable. But like salmon? So try not to get farm-raised salmon. I just made a mental note. Get wild-caught salmon. Got it. Then they're going to come out and say something about wild-caught salmon. It's like every time they say something's good for you, then they come back and renege and be like, oh, wait a minute. Well, now it's new things. It's new reports and studies show that it causes cancer. And it's like everything causes cancer or some type of thing. So it's like...
Fast food. With high
Chick-fil-A.
levels of sugar,
Woo-hoo.
sodium, saturated fats, carbohydrates, and calories, fast food isn't exactly healthy. Most people realize the regular consumption of fast food is linked to obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. But did you know it's also bad for your brain? A 2011 study published in the Public Health Nutrition Journal found that those who regularly eat fast food are 51% more likely to suffer from depression. Although more research is needed to establish precisely what causes this link, scientists agree that eating junk food affects our brains in a number of troubling ways.
Yep.
Research from Western University.
I mean, you guys
in
think
Ontario,
about
for
it. It makes a
example,
lot of sense because our stomachs are our second brain. So, like, whatever, that's why you hear the saying, you are what you eat, or you become what you eat. Because the stuff that you put inside of your body, if it does not have colors, like I said, if it doesn't have many different colors, it doesn't have life. It's just a bunch of dead food. It's pretty much what you're eating. These things contain life. We are all spiritual beings. We need to feed our inner man, not just physically, but also internally. And when I say that, I mean like you have to go within. You have to be just constantly putting positive things in your mind over and over and over again, okay? And food is one of them that you have to internalize that needs to be healthy. It doesn't always have to be like that every single day, but a lot of people talk about how they want to like be positive, they want to be happier, they want to be healthier. If you're eating things that are very potent in, you know, color, fruits, vegetables, water, the same stuff that you're made up of, that we are, since we're made of 70% water and you consume a lot of water, your stomach is going to be happy. It's not going to have a problem digesting that stuff, and it's going to, you know, affect the body in a positive way. You're going to feel lighter, you're going to feel happier. But if you're eating things that are opposite, you're going to feel bogged down, you're going to feel sluggish, you're going to feel like your brain is foggy, you're going to feel less motivated to like walk and work out and do work and to, you know, work towards your goals. You're not going to want to do that stuff because you just consume something that's very dead. And the same type of energy that was put in that food is now going through your body. The same type of energy that was in that animal, that was in that pig, that was in that cow before they went to the slaughterhouse, probably, which was, they were very fearful and afraid, is the same thing that's going to go into your stomach. And we know that energy never dies. So who takes on that energy after that animal is gone and you consume that animal?
Example revealed excessive consumption of high-calorie food can actually restructure the brain, resulting in poor impulse control and cravings. This is because eating junk food triggers the release of dopamine, giving us a powerful feel-good rush. If we experience this high too often, our brain responds by reducing the number of dopamine receptors, meaning we need to consume more junk food to achieve the same dopamine high. With this elevated tolerance, regular junk food eaters can start to feel unhappy if they don't get their junk food fix. The best advice is to keep fast food to a minimum if you want to keep your mind and body in tip-top condition. Cherries. Did you know that all cherries contain a deadly poison? The tasty red flesh is safe to eat, but the cherry pit contains a naturally occurring substance called amygdalin. When we ingest this compound, our bodies break it down into the infamous poison cyanide. In significant quantities, this is poison. Don't panic. You'll probably be fine if you accidentally swallow a cherry pit whole. The poison is contained within the seeds at the center of the pit, which is indigestible. This means in most cases, it'll pass through your system intact, preventing your body from absorbing the lethal substance hidden inside. However, if you cut, crush, or chew the pit, the poison could get into your bloodstream, preventing your cells from using oxygen. The amount of amygdalin in a pit varies from cherry to cherry, but generally, 2 to 3 are enough to produce potentially deadly symptoms. Other stone fruits, including apricots, plums, and peaches, also contain the poisonous substance, though you'd probably be at more of an immediate risk of choking with those. Similarly, apple seeds also contain amygdalin, although
Why
the
would you
quantity
eat that?
is so small, it would take upwards of 100 to kill you.
It's nasty.
Still, it's probably best to avoid munching apple seeds like peanuts. Hot dogs. As you already know, processed meats increase your risk of cancer. But that's not the only reason you might want to beat your hot dog habit. These sausage-shaped snacks are actually a leading cause of choking in children under 14.
Dang,
Meaning they
are you
should
kidding?
be served up with a side order of extreme caution. It makes sense when you think about it. Hot dogs are soft, slippery, and the perfect size to block an airway. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics is so concerned about the risk that in 2010, they called on manufacturers to redesign the iconic hot dog shape. Until that happens, though, you might want to thinly slice hot dogs before...
This makes sense because at our son's school, when they allegedly have hot dogs, they serve hot dog minis. So now I understand, because I'm like, why don't they just serve regular hot dogs? I mean, of course, our son doesn't eat that stuff because we don't eat that stuff. I told him to stay far away from it because if y'all only knew what goes inside of hot dogs, y'all would too. I used to love me a good little barbecue hot dog, though. I'm not even going to lie, on a grill. But once I got to get a little bit older and I started to notice, certain things that were in our food and certain things that our people were going through because of the stuff that we eat, then I was like, it's not worth it. But this makes a lot of sense as to why, the school systems may serve little corn dog minis or hot dog minis instead of the full hot dog, because I had no idea that they were serving as a choking hazard.
Before serving them to children, or yourself if you can't be trusted to chew. Do you have an idea for a new hot dog shape? Let me know down in the comments below.
No.
Bagels.
I love bagels.
And would you believe me if I told you that bagels are one of the most dangerous foods in your kitchen? Well, it's true, but not for the usual reasons that make food dangerous. Every year, about 2,000 Americans end up in the emergency room having cut their hands preparing bagels.
Are you kidding me?
In fact, these embarrassing slip-ups are so common that doctors have a name for them. BRIs, or bagel-related injuries. The problem is, bagels often need holding in place to be sliced. This is why the majority of BRIs are sustained on the non-dominant hand, which holds the slippery bagel during the treacherous cutting process. And bagels aren't the only foods to watch out for when handling knives. In 2019, researchers at Emory University warned about an epidemic of injuries caused by cutting avocados, with more than 27,000 incidents reported between 2013 and 2017.
Dang.
Avocados are round and slippery, a risky combination when you're handling a knife, leading the phenomenon to be nicknamed avocado hand. Mind your fingers, people. Nutmeg. Did you know that your favorite festive spice is hiding a toxic secret?
It's not my favorite spice.
Nutmeg contains a substance called myristicin, which can affect the central nervous system, causing wild hallucinations, vomiting, and in extreme cases, death. Once myristicin is absorbed in the body, it stimulates the release of a protein called cytochrome C, which causes cell death, and in significant quantities leads to organ failure. As a result, it's highly toxic. Just 1 teaspoon of the spice is enough to cause symptoms of myristicin poisoning, and 2 teaspoons could kill you. Luckily, most recipes that include nutmeg only require small amounts that feed multiple people. But definitely think twice before you sprinkle too much over your Christmas eggnog. Otherwise, that myristicin could have you feeling like death and seeing double. Raw almonds.
I love almonds.
As innocent as they seem, you might want to think twice before picking wild almonds.
Oh, no.
The almonds we see in shops are a tasty variety known as the sweet almond. But these nuts have an evil twin known as the bitter or wild almond, which is highly poisonous when eaten raw. Bitter almonds contain amygdalin, the same substance you find in cherry pits, which breaks down into cyanide. Even a small handful of bitter almonds is enough to cause severe poisoning, while between 7 and 50 could kill you, depending on your weight. Bitter almonds were once the only variety around, until a few thousand years ago, when a genetic mutation developed which inhibited the nut's ability to produce amygdalin. This gave rise to the sweet almond, which does still contain amygdalin, but only in trace quantities, meaning eating them won't make you ill. After thousands of years of selective planting, it's now rare to see bitter almond trees at all. In fact, they're highly regulated in the US, where it's illegal to grow or sell them commercially for food. They're still eaten in some parts of the world, though, and can be found hidden in German fruitcake, Greek syrups, and even in Japanese Kit Kats. But don't worry too much. These bitter almonds are cooked to reduce the amygdalin content, making them relatively safe to consume. Just don't go adding bitter almonds to your raw-only diet. ACKEE fruit. Have you ever seen one of these before? This is an ACKEE, the national fruit of Jamaica, which plays a starring role in many traditional Jamaican dishes. The fleshy center of this tasty tropical treat has a nutty flavor and a soft texture, and pairs perfectly with salt fish. Be careful though, because the ACKEE fruit has a dark side. Unripe ACKEE contains a poison called hypoglycin, which causes an illness known as Jamaican vomiting sickness. As the name suggests, this involves nasty nausea and diarrhea, and in severe cases, it can even lead to a coma or death. Luckily, the amounts of hypoglycin massively diminish as the fruit ripens, which means they're perfectly safe to eat as long as they're picked at the right time.
It looks so strange.
Next time you're in Jamaica, remember to only look out for the ripe red pods that have split along the seams, unless you have a very strong stomach. Pasta and rice. Did you know that if you leave cooked rice or pasta out of the fridge for too long, they can undergo a deadly transformation? Spores of bacterium called Bacillus cereus commonly live in uncooked pasta and rice and can survive the cooking process. When a rice or pasta dish is left to sit for several hours at room temperature, these spores can grow into bacteria, which multiply and secrete harmful toxins known as enterotoxins. Once absorbed by our bodies, these attack our organs, causing everything from vomiting to fatal liver failure. Further cooking or reheating won't remove the toxins from your food, and several strains of this hardy bacteria are cold tolerant, meaning they can survive and multiply even when the dish is stored in the fridge. That said, while it's not 100% effective, getting those leftovers in the fridge pronto is still your best bet for avoiding a rice or pasta-related demise. Who would have expected such a betrayal from these heroes of the pantry?
I know, what in the world?
Eggs. Eggs are at the center of an intense debate, and I don't mean sunny side up
eat eggs every morning.
Over easy. For
White
years,
egg whites.
Scientists have been arguing about whether their high cholesterol content is bad for our health. Cholesterol is a fatty substance that our bodies use to build cells, but too much cholesterol can clog our blood vessels, restricting blood flow and increasing heart disease risk. In fact, a 2019 study of 30,000 adults found that for each half an egg eaten per day, risk of heart disease increased by 6%. While risk of an early death rose by 8%. On balance, eggs are a great source of protein and vitamins, and do have a whole host of health benefits, so cutting them out entirely may not be wise. Research has linked phosphatidylcholine, a nutrient found in eggs, with a reduced risk of Alzheimer's, and the American Heart Association suggests that up to 7 eggs a week can be part of a healthy diet. And just remember to cook them thoroughly, as raw eggs can carry salmonella, a bacteria which can cause severe food poisoning. Salmonella can survive even if an egg is lightly cooked, so it's safest to prepare eggs that are firm all the way through. Your foodie friends might roll their eyes, but food safety is no joke. Cashew nuts. You may think you've eaten a raw cashew nut or two in your time, but cashews sold as raw in shops have actually been roasted or steamed, removing dangerous toxins. Truly raw cashews look like this.
Ew.
They're the seed of a sweet, sour fruit called the cashew apple.
That looks so
While the
weird.
fruits are edible, the shells containing the cashew nuts contain urushiol, a substance also found in poison ivy. This can cause rashes or burns if it touches the skin, and is toxic when ingested. Depending on your sensitivity to poison ivy, even a handful of raw, deshelled cashew nuts could be enough to kill you, as the urushiol can leak through the shell into the nuts. So unless you cook them first to remove the urushiol, you'd have to be nuts to eat a handful of raw cashews. Sushi. If I told you your sushi might come with a side order of parasitic worms, would you still eat it? A recent global study showed that fish used in sushi are now infected with 283 times more parasitic worms than in studies carried out in the 1970s. While the exact reasons for this are yet to be determined, it's a pretty horrifying concept. In most cases, our digestive systems kill off these worms before they can do us any damage. But on rare occasions, they can set up camp throughout our bodies and cause nasty infections. Just look at these horrifying x-rays showing one Chinese man with a severe tapeworm infection contracted from regularly eating poor quality sushi.
Ew.
Luckily, incidents as extreme as this remain rare, as most sushi chefs are trained to remove worms. Still, if you're making sushi, you're best off flash freezing your fish beforehand in order to kill off any unwelcome larvae. Oh, and never, under any circumstances, eat gas station sushi. That's just asking for trouble.
Ew, gross. Why?
Brazil nuts. Did you know Brazil nuts are probably the most radioactive
I'm getting hungry watching this, believe it or not.
Kitchen? Well, it's true, and here's how. Brazil nut trees can grow up to 160 feet tall and have expansive root systems which burrow deep into the earth to draw up minerals. Due to the country's unique mineral composition, the soil in Brazil contains unusually high quantities of the naturally occurring radioactive element radium, which is absorbed by the tree roots and fed into the nuts. As a result, Brazil nuts can be a whopping 1,000 times more radioactive than other foods in your kitchen, though this is usually still not enough to be concerned about. That said, you might feel more comfortable choosing non-Brazilian Brazil nuts. This is easier than you think, as almost 50% of the world's supply is now grown in neighboring Bolivia. Although some radioactivity will still likely be present, it'll be at a lower level due to the lower concentration of radioactive elements in the soil. Wherever you source your Brazil nuts, though, you shouldn't be eating more than 3 a day, as they're a rich source of selenium, an essential mineral which can be toxic in large quantities. You should be fine as long as you don't go nuts. Everything in moderation. Has this video changed your mind about any of your favorite foods?
I mean, he listed at least like 4 or 5 of the main foods that I eat, which is like salmon, eggs, rice, pasta, and there was something else that he stated that I'm kind of missing. How many of these did he name for you guys? Because I want to know. I have no idea what the other one was. I'm glad he didn't name lemonade, but I don't know. That probably counts with the fruit juice, I would think. But you guys, make sure that you guys smash the like button. Make sure that you guys subscribe so you can be notified when I do post another video. Make sure that you guys head over to the BMA's channel. I love this channel. I watch it on my own time. If I'm just at home chilling or whatever. You know, just to be entertained. I love watching stuff like this, you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I hope you guys also choose to make some new food choices here in 2023 to make sure that your body is safe and to make sure that your temple is cleansed so that you can get to that level that you're trying to get to in your spirituality and in your walk with God and in your faith in God. So I love you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a blessed and amazing rest of your day. I will see you guys in another video. Mwah.